Welcome to another segment of Field Notes with Mr. B, and this week we're going to take a look at how to care for bluebird boxes, and what a perfect way to do it with a very, I guess, energetic Cub Scout den over here at Van Buren, and we're going to let these kids introduce themselves.
Yeah, my name's Corey Deering, and I'm in pack Den 1, Weeblos 1, Den 2, pack 313.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Alex Kaufman. I'm in Weeblos 1, Den 2, pack 313.
Very good.
Hello, my name is Matt Osman. I am in Weeblos Den 2, pack 313.
Hello, my name is Drew Spears, and I'm in pack 313, Den 1. Hi, my name is Brett Thomas, and I'm in Weeblos 1, Den 2, 313.
And a repeat performance by Mark Rudecki from...
Hi, I'm Mark Rudecki, a Star Scout at Troop 304 in Findlay, Ohio.
And I'm Elizabeth Okapal. I'm student teaching with Mr. Bowerman.
My name is Connie Osman. I'm the den leader for the Weeblos Den in Van Buren, Ohio.
And a very brave lady to be out here with all these kids, as all den mothers are. Today we're going to talk about how to care and set up a bluebird trail, and these young men and their leaders are managing this trail, taking care of this trail, and documenting the development of birds. This is Field Notes with Mr. B. We'll be back in a few moments. Welcome back to Field Notes with Mr. B. We're going to take a look at an actual box that's being used right now. We've got some nesting material out here. We don't know what we're going to find. These guys are out here doing their monitoring. They do have one box they know for sure that may be active. We're going to take a look at it. One of the things we want to point out is the height is just about perfect for a bluebird box mounting. They are away from trees. They've got open mode area. This is perfect habitat. And this is in a cemetery. So these things can be located in a lot of different locations. The open meadow part's very critical, the short grass, because they browse and look for their feed. Now, Drew, you ready to take this out? You think we could do this?
Yeah.
Let's try it. See if we can get that out of there. You can use a little bit of a lever. If you grab a hold of it like that and kind of hang on to it, now push it this way. Like that, you might be able to pull it out a little easier. You get it? Now, let me try. Let me help you here. Technical difficulties here. There we go. All right, hold the nail. All right, now we open in this side. Okay, let's very careful here. Maybe we'll see if we can get over to this side and get a better look at this. Okay, very carefully. We do have some nesting material. Nobody here. One of the things that they will do is they will build sometimes a few nests without actually taking over the box, and that will not happen. The male courts the female by putting on a display, fans these wings out and so forth, and maybe even feeds her a little bit, takes her out to dinner at McDonald's, whatever. You know, it's kind of cool. But anyway, what's going on in here is we do have a start, and they build a little cup nest in there, and it'll be made out of needles and twigs and leaves and whatever they can find. And again, here's our critter guard we saw being constructed in the boxes last week. It was really kind of cool, and that helps keep things from getting in there. And the thing is, with this mounted the way it is a little bit more difficult for snakes or whatnot to get up in here. Now, if it's right on a straight pole, they can get into it, and they'll go into the box and eat the little ones. So that's what's going on here. Now, we're going to take a look at another box down the way, guys, that you say is active, and you've seen bluebirds over by it, right? Now, maybe if we're lucky, what do we may have in there, huh?
Eggs.
Let's look for some eggs. Okay, let's go on down and take a look at the other box. Okay, can you see her in there? She was looking at us a second ago. All right, so let's try to go from the side over here. One of the things that a lot of people question the idea of monitoring a box and coming up, you got to be very gentle, very quiet. But the thing is you want to know what things are going on, and when in monitoring, sometimes they will actually remove species of birds that you don't want in there, like the English sparrow. That's an alien, and it'll come into the nest and take it over. So we're going to try and get this out here. You got those pliers again? Mr. Osmond's got them here. Let's very carefully remove the nail. Now watch this hole right here, because she may come out. And again, the female broods the eggs, okay? Yeah, boy, that's tight. Make those holes a little bigger next time, huh? It's swollen, right. Okay, now hold on to that one. You got that one? Somebody hold the pliers. Okay, now we're going to very carefully lift the sight up here just to see what we've got, if she's brooding or not. Very carefully here. And, okay. There she goes. Okay, now she'll come back, no problem. You can see the pretty blue. And what's really helpful, guys, is if you have a little mirror, I hate to reach in there too much and disturb, but there are 4 beautiful eggs. Record that on your status sheet, okay? Yeah, they're both over on the wire, the mother and father bird. There's 4 eggs. Did you guys see them? Here, can you see them? Okay, there you go. All right, sorry about that. And a contractor built me that way too. I don't know why they do that stuff, but anyway. Let's close it back up very carefully. Now, a lot of folks might be saying, good job, guys, isn't that awesome? What are you going to say? You got to cheer? You got to cheer? Come on, get excited. Hey, all right. Here you go. How about the watermelon cheer? You ready? Ready? I'm an old scout. Oh, come on. What kind of scouts are you? Come on, Mark, you ready? Get your watermelon. You ready? You got it? Ready? Like that. You don't like that one? Oh, well, that's all right. I said, there you go. There's that guy teaching my kid to spit right there on TV camera. All right. Very exciting to see that. The mother bird will come back here, and the touching of the box, none of that hurts anything at all. Birds cannot smell. So if you do find a baby bird and you know where the nest is, you can put it back. Now, the reason they might abandon the nest, and bluebirds seem to be very accepting to people coming up and doing this kind of thing, but other birds might abandon a nest with babies because of your presence and not because of smell, okay? Now, there are birds that can smell. Turkey vultures can smell, okay? But a lot of birds cannot smell, so you don't need to worry about that. And again, the orientation of this box, you want to put the opening of the box so it's not facing the way the storms come from. Where do the storms come from in northwest Ohio? That way, which is what? Sun goes down over there. What's this over here?
Over there.
Huh? No, that's north. What's this over here? Okay, what's this over here? West. Okay, look at him put his face to the north. And east over here. But right out of here, right? Get most of our weather out of the west and the southwest. So you want to face these openings so that they're not facing into that weather, because the rain and everything can blow in there. And believe it or not, these guys start nesting in March. What else could blow in there since we've had this kind of spring? Tornadoes. Snow, you know, cold, you know, yuck. This is really awesome. We're going to leave this site right now because we don't want to stay here too long. We want to come on very quickly and get out very quickly. Both parent birds are over there watching. When we get away, they'll come back, and she'll come back on the eggs. This is awesome, guys. Congratulations to every single one of you. And I'd like to chide every scout leader out there to take on a project like this, or a youth group. I'm not shaking your hand, Mark. Anyway, so and right here, let's go right, pat on the back here too, all right? This is fantastic, and you've got a neat thing going here. You're helping out a species that's in big trouble due to cavity competition. That's fantastic. This is Field Notes with Mr. B. We'll be back in a few moments. Welcome back to Field Notes with Mr. B. I've got Elizabeth back on with me in this show because Elizabeth has had experience in South America and has observed some of the problems with habitat. One of the things about all these things we're doing, we're trying to artificially create habitat. Pheasants Forever, that's one of our sponsors, is doing that. Elizabeth, tell us what's going on in South America.
Well, with the tropical rainforest, some of the migratory species that go down to the tropical regions are having some problems because of the rainforest destruction. They're losing some shelter sites, they're losing some food sources, and also many of those countries are still using certain types of chemicals, insecticides that are no longer used in the United States, and they can be real dangerous to the birds.
All right, the neotropical referring to birds that do migrate from the south to the north, and we have a lot of them that come through here, and these birds not quite that far that we've been talking about, but a lot of the warblers and so forth, like the Kirkland's warbler all the way down to the Bahamas and up to Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Right, there's really a wide range of birds that do migrate, and they migrate to various areas, central Mexico on down, to South America. So there is a wide range of habitat that they're going to migrate, and a wide range also that's being destroyed as well. So it's affecting a lot of species.
Well, that's right. So anything you can do to help protect habitat, build these boxes, get your kids doing this kind of projects, it's awesome. We really appreciate the Osmonds and what they've done with these young men. We'd like you to take a look at a video that's been produced by the Division of Wildlife on bluebirds. We hope you enjoy it. It's a very informative, excellent video, and you'll get a very close look at bluebirds. We had a live look today, but you'll get a closer look at more bluebirds in their natural habitat and on a bluebird trail.
They've been called the bird that carries the color of the sky on its back and that of rich, brown, freshly turned earth on its breast. The early settlers in Plymouth Colony welcomed this friendly, cheerful songster, and they named it Blue Robin because it reminded them of their English robin redbreast. There aren't many around today. White-haired farmers can recall the song and flight of large numbers of bluebirds from their youth, but no more. The favorite nesting sites of bluebirds are in old orchards and the wooden posts of old fence rows, neither of which is very abundant today. They like to nest in cavities, a hollow post or tree. In bygone days, Ohio trees and fences were well-stocked snack bars for woodpeckers who drilled into decaying branches and fence posts looking for a meal. The bluebirds could occupy the apartments the woodpeckers whittled out. The population flourished. The problems for bluebirds started when we replaced fence rows with modern new fences and started pruning and spraying the orchard trees. These activities removed what were the best nesting sites in good habitat. Habitat is a place that provides an animal with proper and sufficient food, water, shelter, and space to ensure its survival. So now we have better fences to keep our livestock in and more abundant fruit on our orchard trees, but the bluebirds were left with no place to raise their young. The few apartments that remained were usually occupied by the persistent and dominating immigrants, the starling and the house sparrow. These birds were brought over by the early settlers from Europe. The number of bluebirds around Ohio became fewer and fewer. Ohio's Division of Wildlife and other concerned groups realized that most of the good nesting sites in good habitat were gone, and they started a much-needed housing project, building bluebird nesting boxes. Now, the bluebird won't nest in just any old house or apartment. They have certain needs just like we do. Bluebirds need perches near the nest where they can watch for crawling and flying insects in grassy areas. They like to know where their next meal is coming from. And they need a place where they can gather grass for a nest and a roof over their heads. In early spring, the male searches for a new house. He selects what he considers to be a suitable home in an area with perches, short grass, and many insects. Then carols his sweetest song until a mate appears. The female checks out the new bungalow and, if suitable, she starts moving in. She gathers dried grass and arranges them to make a neat, level nest in the snug cavity. After 2 to 5 days of nest building, the female lays a clutch of eggs, 1 blue egg a day for 4 to 6 days. Then she incubates the eggs by sitting on them to keep them warm for about 2 weeks. She does leave the nest sometimes to hunt for insects in the low grasses surrounding the nest. When the eggs have hatched, both parents begin feeding the nestlings immediately. For the first few days, they are fed soft spiders. Then they graduate to larger, harder delectables such as grasshoppers, beetles, and crickets. These chicks are about 5 days old. They're born with no feathers and seemingly huge mouths. Anytime these hungry little youngsters feel a vibration, they open wide and get ready for food. Parents may feed each of the youngsters up to 50 times a day. The parents are also continuously house cleaning. Since bluebird nestlings don't wear diapers, the parent carries out the waste in what is called a fecal sac. Sometimes the little nestlings just open their mouths to let off excess heat if it's a hot, steamy day. At 8 days, the tail feathers have sprouted and their eyes are fully developed. They begin to look a little more like bluebirds. And at that point, their brains and eyes have developed enough for the nestlings to know that new noises or movement near the nest may be a threat, and the little ones play possum in an attempt to avoid trouble. That's typical behavior for cavity nesting birds. When they're big enough to leave the nest, which is at the ripe old age of about 18 days, the male teaches them to hunt. Sometimes getting the nestlings to take their first trip out of the safety of their house is difficult. The parents stop delivering food to the door and start coaxing the young ones out by flying past and calling to them. Finally, one by one, they use their wings and begin to learn to make it on their own. The female may begin right away to build a new nest on top of the old one. Bluebird females often manage to raise 2 families during the warm months. These man-made bluebird nesting boxes are often placed on what we call a bluebird trail. They're spaced about 100 or 200 yards apart in an area with good habitat, such as on farms or golf courses, in parks or cemeteries, anywhere there are low grasses and perches. A bluebird trail manager hits the trail every week or 2 to check the progress of the tenants. If the nest is empty, the bluebirder cleans out the old nest to rid it of blood-sucking insect larvae that can harm the next batch of nestlings. If there are nestlings in the box, some bluebird trail managers put identification leg bands on the nestlings for scientific study. You must have a permit to do this. When a bluebirder finds a bird with a metal band, the information is turned in to the Division of Wildlife. From these bands, we can tell where the birds move to, how old they are, and migration trends. As with most songbirds, a bluebird life is usually rather short. 1 or 2 years is about the average. Along the bluebird trail, there will be other kinds of cavity nesting birds as well. Tree swallows with their pure white breast and belly often build nests of feathers and lay their white eggs in the trail boxes in late April. Tree swallows are a favorite of campers and sportsmen and are often called nature's bug bomb. They delight in a meal of mosquitoes, flies, and other flying insects. Boxes placed in or near mature woods may attract the chickadee, a common year-round resident of Ohio. These little bright, cheery gray birds with distinct black caps and white markings are active, agile birds that are easily attracted to backyard feeders. They also help us by eating many insects. Another year-round resident who frequently visits backyard feeders may also check into one of the apartments, the pleasant little tufted titmouse. The tufted titmouse and the chickadee are cousins. The house wren is the most dominant of all cavity nesting birds. They're often called the boss of the brushlands and will evict bluebirds and other tenants by puncturing the eggs and building a stick nest on top of them. If you place a bluebird box in or near a brushy area, you'll end up with wren boxes instead of bluebird boxes. The boxes should be at least 40 feet from any brushy area. Then there are 2 species of cavity nesting birds that are undesirable residents, starlings and house sparrows. Starlings are blackish in color, flecked with white and buff, and will chase away the more desirable residents. They can be kept out of the bluebird boxes by making the entrance hole exactly 1½ inches. Starlings are too large to fit through that size hole. And the other unwelcomed guest on the bluebird trail is the house sparrow, or weaver finch. Sparrows will kill bluebird young and adults, and will destroy the eggs. Bluebird boxes should never be placed near buildings where sparrows are frequent residents. The nests of house sparrows and starlings can legally be removed and destroyed to prevent the already abundant population from increasing. The bluebirds have a few other enemies as well. Raccoons like to include bluebird eggs and their young in their diets, and so do wild house cats, opossums, gray foxes, and some snakes, especially if they can climb or jump up to get a bird's eye view of the nest. And bluebirds have another enemy, Old Jack Frost. Bluebirds are fairly hardy birds, but during ice and snowstorms, when the bluebirds can't find enough insects to eat, they rely on berries. When the berries become ice-covered, The bluebird's beaks aren't strong enough to penetrate the ice-crusted berry, and they starve. During mild winters, many bluebirds don't migrate south unless it begins to turn cold. Then they try to race the cold weather by flying south just before they have to rely on frozen food. If it's just a short cold snap, some stick around and brave the cold. Often, 10 or 12 of them will huddle in one bluebird box to stay cozy and warm. These bluebird boxes can be constructed easily, especially if you have the pamphlet Hit the Trail for Bluebirds with specific instructions. It's free from the Division of Wildlife. Some wood, glue, nails, and a metal pipe to put the house on are all you need. Of course, it's very important to find the right habitat for the boxes, or no bluebirds will be able to make use of your handiwork. When you've located a grassy area, away from buildings and near fences, wires, or branches for perching, mount the box on a pipe and put a little chassis grease on the middle third of the pipe. Spread it on about as thick as cake frosting, and it will stop unwanted climbers. Another project you can do to help out the bluebirds is to plant trees and shrubs to provide food and cover. The Division of Wildlife has packets of fruit and seed-bearing plants which will provide just the necessary ingredients for bluebirds and other species of wildlife. Through the efforts of the Division of Wildlife, the North American Bluebird Society, and other groups concerned with wildlife, the bluebird population is increasing. With more help and some special attention, these and other species of wildlife can flourish and thrive in an environment man has changed over the years.
Last week we introduced it, and I hope a lot of you contacted the TV station, and my answering machine's full at home. What's of the week right here? See if you can figure out what this is. Give us a call, write a letter into the TV station. We challenge all scouts, all schools and whatnot to come up with an idea for what this is. We really enjoy doing these programs for you, and I hope that you do too. And we appreciate the Osmonds and the Cub Den that was here this week to help us out, and all of our guests that were here today. So thank you very much. This is Field Notes with Mr. B.